Hello and welcome to your Thursday edition of Jamaica Magazine. Today we recap Denbigh Day 1, talk food safety and back-to-school checkups. We'll also have the top news stories of the day as well as investments being made in water. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Welcome.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Do you have the financing to support a long-term investment program in water? And the answer to that is yes, because we have managed the economy in such a way as to be able to do that. We deliberately make a point of every week either breaking ground, handing over, turning on, not announcing, because it shows you the track record of delivery. So you can have faith in that yes, you don't have it now, but there is a program in place backed by good fiscal management so that it can project the revenues into the future to support the future project. And that's what you want. You want government policy with endurance.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Thursday, August 21, 2025. As the nation prepares for a general election on September 3, the Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, is reporting that observer missions from CARICOM have confirmed their interest in covering the process. They are the Organization of American States, OAS, and Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections, CAFE. The OAS mission will be headed by former Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Dr. Kenny Anthony. In a release on Wednesday, the EOJ says it has commenced the printing of ballot papers with the names of the candidates nominated on August 18. 63 candidates were each nominated for the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, and the People's National Party, PNP. 43 were also confirmed for the Jamaica Progressive Party, JPP, 7 for the United Independence Congress, and 8 as independent candidates. Meanwhile, 6 candidates were confirmed as duly nominated for the local government by-elections in Chancery Hall, Olympic Gardens, and Denham Town, 3 each for the JLP and PNP. According to the EOJ, it has now advanced preparations with the printing of voters' lists, selection and placement of election day workers, and the distribution of supplies. Voting for members of the special services, that is, election day workers, police and military electors, will take place on Friday, August 29. Ground has officially broken for a $4.7 million smart bus stop in Montego Bay, St. James. The smart bus stop will be erected at the entrance of the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Mount Salem and is part of the city's wider urban renewal project. It's expected to be completed in 6 weeks and will feature free Wi-Fi as well as QR codes to access transport operator groups. Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, spoke at the groundbreaking ceremony and highlighted the safety measures.
We have our cameras that the police has access to. So anything that takes place within the vicinity of this setup, the police will have access to it.
The project is the first of its kind for the city and forms part of efforts to create a more modern and secure transportation system. Head of the St. James Police Division, Senior Superintendent Aaron Samuels, says his team members will be doing their part to keep the area safe.
It's right across from the police station, and we want to ensure that we keep that engagement, keep the patrols checking on what's happening here so that we don't have a 9-day wonder in terms of persons feeling safe, but it will be continued as a safe spot for persons to come who want to seek medical attention or persons going to school.
Motorists using the North-South Highway now have the convenience of paying toll fees using debit or credit cards directly at the toll lanes. The new payment system has been in effect since August 2, following the installation of point-of-sale POS machines at all 6 toll plazas along the corridor. Speaking at a Jamaica Information Service JIS think tank on Tuesday, Commercial and Marketing Manager at Jamaica North-South Highway Company, JNSHC, Trudy Ann Williams, provided an update on the rollout of the new system.
Once you approach any of our 6 toll plazas, there is a designated toll lane that you can use to remit or use a debit or credit card. So far, we have been accepted accepting MasterCards, Visa cards, Discover cards, and American Express cards. And you have the option to tap, swipe, or insert the card in order to remit the payment to us.
In addition to card payments at the toll booths, motorists can now also top up their electronic toll accounts via a mobile app. Chief Executive Officer at the Toll Authority of Jamaica, Jerome Palmer, explained that this upgrade is part of a broader efforts by the JNSHC to improve customer convenience and modernize toll operations.
We had the same kind of, we spoke about the importance of persons being able to seamless topping up, so we need to diversify. And we can gratefully say there's an application, not just a website.
We have the application which is available on iOS and Android devices. You can always go to the App Store, type in NS space E-PASS, so that's NSE Pass in the App Store, and then you can download.
The nation's students have again posted strong results in the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examination, CAPE, achieving high pass rates across both Units 1 and 2. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon reported that Unit 1 recorded a 96.2% pass rate, up 1.2% from last year, while Unit 2 saw a 92.3% pass rate, an increase of 1.3%. Improved performances were recorded in 25 subject areas in Unit 1 and 17 subjects in Unit 2.
We're doing really well with CAPE, and so teachers, principals, keep up the great work in CAPE. We are so pleased to see that continued performance.
Among the standout results, Unit 1 saw perfect scores in design and technology, green engineering, and tourism. Other strong performances were in geography, with 98.1%, food and nutrition 97.4%, and physics at 97.2%. Pure mathematics recorded an 88.5% pass rate. For Unit 2, students earned 100% pass rates in financial services studies, engineering technology, green engineering, French, Spanish, and performing arts. Tourism was close behind with a 97.8% pass rate. And finally, a 100-member delegation will represent Jamaica at the 15th staging of the Caribbean Festival of Arts, Carifesta, in Barbados. The event starts on Friday, August 22, and is being held under the theme Caribbean Roots, Global Excellence. The festival is the largest cultural and artistic event in the region and is hosted biennially by CARICOM member states and showcases the creative expressions of artists from across the Caribbean. Speaking with the JIS News, Executive Director of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, and Head of the Jamaica Delegation to Carifesta, Lenford Salmon, says Jamaica's participation will span several areas.
This will involve pulling from a number of cultural disciplines, from dance to traditional folk to theatre to stand-up comedy. Those are the main. Film is also included in there, and we're also sending, we have a youth jamboree in a youth village, and we're also sending sixth formers from Jamaica to participate in that youth jamboree.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
It's time to step inside the pavilion, admire the displays, and hear what it takes to organize such an event. It's the one-of-a-kind annual Denbigh Agricultural Show. Here's a recap of Day 1 from the three-day event held earlier this month.
I'm here at the Denbigh Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show in Clarendon, where Day 1 of the 2025 showing is in full swing. Now in its 71st staging, the decades-old affair is the Caribbean's longest and largest agricultural exhibition. And today's event is a celebration of the show we have come to know and love.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Denbigh Agricultural, Industrial and Food Show is back. After 71 years, we are here another time to celebrate all things agriculture.
Yes, after a break due to Hurricane Beryl last year, the legendary agricultural trade show kicked off in steady fashion.
I am so happy to see so many patrons, to see the parish pavilion so beautifully decorated, to see the Kiddies Village in full swing, the ornamental village, all the exhibitors, the sponsors, the culture performers.
A major feature of the day was the Parish Pavilion, which is a contest of creativity and community spirit between farmers across each parish. Essentially, each parish transforms its booth into a showcase of agricultural innovation, traditional foods, and local heritage, with all of them vying for the title of Best Pavilion and the hope of winning the coveted Rudolph Burke Trophy.
We're looking at cooperative community effort. This is where we go into the communities and look at how the farmers come together and make the best of the resources that they have, or access resources through various cooperative or whichever other entities that they use to make their lives better. We also look at youth involvement in agriculture. This is where we check on the young farmers in the parishes and ensure that we transfer that information from the older to the younger folks and bringing them to the fore in the agricultural sector.
Judges also looked at initiative and resourcefulness of the farmers, as well as market potential of their products and their potential for agro-processing. And of course,
environmental sustainability. Because whatever we do, we have to ensure that the environment that we are working with is protected. So we look at how the farmers use their farming practices along with best practices to protect the environment.
Rhythm and roots are the heartbeat of our culture. Every twirl, every stomp, every call and response, there is Jamaica. It's not just about performing, it's culture in motion. Bringing a touch of nostalgia this year were folk dances brought from the past by the future in the form of the students from the Four Paths and Crooked River Primary Schools, accompanied by the Blue Glaze Mentor Band.
Planning the Denbigh show, we wanted to also include some stuff from Jamaican culture, of course, because Denbigh show is an iconic Jamaican event. Our culture is very much alive and well, and that is what part of the reason that we want the youth of Jamaica to take away from Denbigh this year, that even though times are changing, we have globalization, but our culture is still very much relevant, vibrant, and is 100% authentic.
We have completed class 72 for the Jamaica Red. We now move to class 74.
It's another major feature of the Denbigh show, one that has had a lasting impact on animal rearing in the country, and another food source that we are grateful for. Think curried mutton and grade A producing cow's milk. Yes, Jamaica's best animals are on show. It's the livestock judging competition, where farmers from across the country are showcasing some of their finest breeds of sheep and beef cattle.
We would have developed 4 breeds of cattle by our renowned scientist, Dr. T.P. Leckie, right? And these breeds have been, these genetics have been conserving over the years. So having these animals on display and the farmers being resilient and amidst all the challenges and to come to display these animals, it shows that in terms of our food security, it is being secured. And the genetic resources are being disseminated across the island. The judges, they will be looking out for the different breed characteristics. So all the breeds, they have certain breed standard and characteristics that they look for. And all these animals, they are shown in different classes, right? So they will parade the animal in different classes, and then the judges will make their assessment based on the classes that they are in and if they fit the breed standards.
All in all, day one of the trade show was just what it ought to be, a vibrant representation of our food sources, setting the precedent for days following. Custos Rotolorum of the parish of Clarendon, Edith Chin, who spoke on behalf of the Governor General and the Leader of the Opposition, concur.
Denbigh continues to showcase the best of Jamaican agriculture and rural enterprise. It reaffirms what we have always believed, that with the right support, our farmers can compete and succeed at the highest level, both locally and globally.
For over 7 decades, this event has captured the strength, innovation, and enduring spirit of Jamaican farmers, who year after year feed a nation and hold the backbone of our economy. This year's theme, A New Era, Overcoming Challenges, Building Resilience, Securing Our Future, could not be more timely. Farmers today are not only cultivating crops, they're confronting climate change head-on. Droughts, floods, hurricanes, shifting seasons, and rising costs have all left deep scars on farms across the country. But if history teaches us anything, it is that Jamaican farmers have never been strangers to challenge. You have always found ways to adapt and to triumph. Now is the time to channel that same spirit into a bold new era of agriculture, one that is smarter, more creative, and more resilient. Let us take the best of our heritage and marry it with the promise of innovation.
This is your reminder on how to mark your ballot, easy and confidential. When you receive your ballot, take a moment to read it carefully. Mark your ballot clearly with an X beside the symbol of the candidate of your choice. Use only the pencil provided. Make sure it is visible. Once you're done, fold the ballot as instructed and return it to the presiding officer. Your vote is your voice. Make your mark, make it count.
Up next, the National Animal Identification and Traceability System that is in place to facilitate safe food for consumption. This accountability system traces animals from the farm to the butcher through a tagging process.
For the introduction of proper traceability of animals and products of animal origin, countries have implemented systems to ensure the safety of food and also for disease surveillance purposes. So the NAITS, National Animal Identification and Traceability System, was pretty much brought into being with the passage of the marking of bovine animals regulations of 2015, which mandates all farmers, all owners of cattle to have those animals tagged and issued with a passport.
So the objective is to starting with cattle, to get the cattle identified with a government tag that ties that animal to its owner. So as it moves from one owner to the other, the passport goes with the animal, and it has a proof of change of ownership.
On this farm, there's a specific establishment number that no other farmer will have. So every farmer has their specific number. This is the tag that is used. Both ears of the cattle will be tagged. One side takes the DNA sample. So this same number that is on the tag is the same number on the passport for this particular animal. The first 3 digits at the top is the series, and this series could occur on other tags, but the 5 digits below is specific to one animal, to that particular farmer.
Welcome to the Juicy Patty Farm at Comfort in Clarendon.
When I came here, probably half of the stock was tagged at the time. Currently we have 576 animals here. Out of that, 560 are tagged. Whenever animals are born, we report it within 7 days of birth, and we make arrangements with them to come in and tag. Especially for us, we transport animals on a weekly basis from here to the abattoir. So once it goes on the thoroughfare, you have to have the passports along with the relevant documentations for that animal.
It also helps us in terms of our disease surveillance and monitoring activities, where we exactly know where the farms are, the amount of animals on the farm, the movement of those animals, so that we can have a robust system and to be able to respond more rapidly to any emerging situation we may have.
I would encourage all farmers, all cattle farmers to get it done, make use of the opportunity so that they can improve on their record and also for identifying their animals.
Back in the days, long time ago, at this time of year, every pitney did have to get a washout or worm medicine for back to school. It was a faithful tradition, and in this next feature we learn why it's important and how having these parasites in our bodies can affect learning.
Deworming is the process of giving worm medicine to an individual to get rid of parasites such as roundworm and tapeworm. While the focus is usually on children, adults should also be dewormed. Consultant pediatrician at the Bustamante Hospital for Children, Dr. Sandrika Young-Peart, tells us why this process is important, signs to look for, and the impact of these worms to our health.
When we talk about worms, we're talking about multiple different types. We may talk about the roundworm, the pinworm, or we can talk about the whipworm. And these are just some of the few worms that exist. The worms can actually cause a disease burden on our society, and the complications of having worm infestations are numerous and problematic. It affects how our children may concentrate and may be able to learn. There are actually documented findings that it actually affects your cognitive and your physical development and your ability to concentrate in school. And so it's actually important that we actually rid our children of these parasites. According to the WHO, approximately 800 million children are actually affected by worms each year. So what are some of the signs that a person may have worms? Symptoms could be what we commonly think about, like grinding of the teeth. They may be itching their anus, right? They may actually have weight loss. They may feel very tired and fatigued. And these are just some of the symptoms that may give you an indication that your child may have worm. They may not have any signs at all. Or they can have other signs and symptoms, such as vomiting, abdominal swelling or distension, diarrhea, or constipation. If the worms actually form balls, they can actually block the intestines, and that can either cause constipation and cause the child to vomit. They can also present with wheezing, and we may think they are actually asthmatics, but it's actually the worms that have migrated into the lungs to cause obstruction of the airway and cause the child to wheeze. So how do they get infected? They may get infected either by eating or drinking contaminated water or food. If there is inadequate or improper waste disposal, and if we don't wash our hands before we eat or drink food. And there's a particular worm that you can actually get if you actually walk barefooted. So that is also something to bear in mind. And so it's actually important that we actually give our children worm medicine so we can actually target getting rid of these worms and actually reducing the worm burden in our society. You can deworm your children twice per year. You should actually give them worm medicine, and all the persons who are in the household should also get the worm medicine at the same time. It is important that our adults also be treated or dewormed, because we can be asymptomatic, meaning that we don't have any symptoms at all, but we can still be carriers of worms. And when we excrete or pass our feces, especially sometimes when we do it inappropriately, we may pass out the eggs of these worms. Then our cows or poultry or pigs may actually ingest these when they feed. And then that's a vicious cycle. And should our children be playing in the areas where waste is inadequately disposed, then they too can actually pick up the eggs or the larvae on their fingers. And if they don't wash their hands before they eat, or while they're in the midst of playing, they may actually put their fingers in their mouth, then they too can actually ingest these worms. So how can you prevent your child from getting worms? It's difficult, but there are some basic tips that we can actually do to reduce the chance of our children getting these serious worm infections and having the complications. It's basic hand washing before eating our food, allowing our children not to walk barefooted, allowing our children not to play with the pets, especially if their pets are not treated quite frequently. And importantly, proper hygiene. Ensure that our waste is disposed properly. So it's pretty important that we all get on board as adults so we can actually reduce the worm burden and the impact on our society.
Greetings world, this is your singer Taurus Riley.
Today my rise like the sunrise, my bright and my upright, no one can break my vibes. I may not care who I fight, I know I criticize, I'm on the higher heights. So you can say what you want to and do what you want to, it's no concern to me. Because I have my own vision, me dip on my own mission to rule my destiny.
My father did have a label named Love and Promotion off of his song Love and Devotion. So that is really where I started to like record, you know, as a DJ them time, they were called DJ.
I'm a Superman and thanks to Lois Lane. Used to weigh my problems when I went insane. Took me from the depths when I lost my name.
I used to follow him to things like Heineken Star Time and be in the studio with Dennis Brown and Gregory Isaac and you name them, yeah, man, you know. But I never like it. I couldn't relate to it because my friend my beat band desk and DJ lyrics and thing. So that was more my kind of thing we could relate to and love it.
Fire diamonds well freezing my hand. You are what style and flow, man, I float like butterflies, sting like bees in the man.
I'm a creative artist. And maybe one time I would say I was a particular kind of artist, but not anymore. And the reason why is because I can do more than one thing and I'm gaining more confidence in doing that.
Well, as I get a youth, I don't live uptown. Them never want me bust, them try holding me down. Papa was a rebel downtown Kingston, and my mother was a queen but never get the crown. Blessing in abundance, yeah, it shows. And the more them see me smiles, like the more them frown. Hypocrite talk and say it's not fair. The Fresh Prince of J.A. is here. Alright, who that? Sing it, sing it, sing it. Oh, sing it, sing it, sing it.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkins, and do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.